Hey guys, we're going to be starting here in just a minute. I just wanted to go ahead and say I can't wait to dive into the Batman. This is actually part of our Batman rewatch series. Do us a favor though, real quick. Go over to Apple Podcasts, rate us over there, and also to go over to Good Pods, rate us over there, and of course on Spotify as well. That actually helps other listeners to be able to go ahead and find us at on our audio podcast. But anyways, for further ado, let's go on ahead. I got Tomeka here. I have Charlie here. We're excited to dive into this movie. So let's go on ahead. Let's do this. And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. With me, I have Tamika with me again, and I also have Charlie. We're all here excited to talk about Batman Begins, and this movie is one of my favorite movies out of the trilogy for the Christopher Nolan universe. This is more of your realism Batman. This is not connected with the comic books as much or heavily adapted into the comic books that we all know and love or anything like that. But he does do a really good job of adapting Batman into this world, and also to giving us a better viewpoint of this could be something that someone could actually do, versus the fact that it's all comic book related. We don't have no aliens. We don't have Superman. We don't have all these supernatural beings. We have basically just a normal guy who winds up happening to him. It's an origin story, and mixed in with the origin story, you have a psyche of who Bruce Wayne and Batman is. So that's something that I really liked. And of course, you also have Scarecrow in this movie. You also have Ra's al Ghul in this movie, though, too. But this movie actually had a budget of 150 million, and then also too, it made 371.9 million at the box office. So that's really impressive. But overall, what do you guys think about this film?
You guys, Tamika.
Yeah, this is in Charlie's wheelhouse. But yeah, I like this film. Like even though I'm a Keaton fan, and that's where my Batman starts, I think Christian Bale does a great job in Nolan as well, because he really dives deeper into what happened with Batman. Like we all seen throughout the movies, like yeah, his parents get shot, but it ends there, right? But with this one, you actually see after the funeral, and then you see him conversating with Alfred, like, oh, it was my fault. And then you see like more of him coming home from college, and then just being lost and trying to find himself in the criminal underworld type of thing. Like it goes more into
The
um
fear
yeah, it
of
goes more into
Gotham.
the fear, and then it goes more into the life of Batman. Like it kind of fills those gaps, if you may. So yeah, I like that. I find it interesting that in the comics it's Ra's al Ghul, and in here is Ra's al Ghul. So I wasn't sure if like Nolan or whoever was aware of it, but I guess that's just like the old classics or old heads of comics. They'll probably find be a stickler for that. But I can't really find anything negative about this film, to be honest. I really liked it. It went beyond just the classic origin that we know of Batman and his parents. Because I don't know any other films that I guess went deeper into, like they're in the theater and he looks at bats, like they're doing some stage play about bats or something, and then he asked his dad, "Can we go?" Like it just filled in the gaps for me. That's all I'm saying.
I definitely like that, to be honest with you. This is actually my first introduction to Christopher Nolan's world. I never saw a Christopher Nolan movie, so this was like the first movie that was directed by Christopher Nolan, and I didn't know what to expect going into it.
Hmm.
And of course, I was in high school whenever this movie came out, or just getting out of high school. But I was excited to see what they were going to do, because it's been a while since we actually had a Batman film, so I didn't know what quite to expect.
Hmm.
But I'll go into more about that in a few minutes. But I'll let Charlie go on ahead and give his initial thoughts on it, though, too.
Charlie, you have the floor.
Yes, I love this movie was great. I mean, I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. The way he just brings the best out of people that he gets, like that he gets in these movies. Like, I mean, this is the first introduction. Like, you see, like Michael not Michael Keaton, Michael Kane, and then he's used Michael Kane in a lot of his other movies. You got Christian Bale, which I don't like. He's used in quite of his other movies. Like, so he's got guys that they're really good actors. Besides Katie Holmes, but that's whatever. I then again, I will say I like her better in this one than I did Maggie Gyllenhaal as Rachel. But we can get into that when we get to the Dark Knight. But I thought that it was not it didn't overshadow the whole movie. It was very sporadic here and there, and it just shows that I had friendship. But I mean, from the cast alone in this movie, you get a lot of people that are really good actors, and Nolan does a really good job. I mean, when you got him, you got a cinematographer. Like, everything about this movie is really good from everybody, and everybody stepped up their A game. Again, this for me was your Michael Keaton. For me, this is my first introduction into Batman. Because I mean, I don't remember watching Batman and Robin as a kid. I mean, I don't maybe wasn't paying attention. I was watching other stuff. I mean, but when I heard, like, I didn't hear about this movie. I saw some trailers. I don't remember about the Tumblr. Does it come in black? I mean, for me, that is the best Batmobile. Like, a freaking tank. I mean, seeing that. So, and then it was like, I was visiting my grandparents, and like, I do remember playing the PS2 video game that was adapted to this game. So my dad was like, I was up with visiting my grandparents, and we're like, let's go see Batman. So it was me and a bunch of my cousins. The other reason the movie was good is because, well, we had a projector issue in the theater, so we didn't see a lot of the trailers, so we got a free pass. And so luckily we got a free pass, and we used to go see Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So it was pretty good summer. But this movie is like, it was very entertaining. It was I mean, it starts out slow, but you see visually the world. This looks like it looks real. It's not cartoony.
Looks like Gotham.
It's dark. I mean that's why everybody's like, oh, the Batman movies are so dark, but they're so dark because they're real. This could happen in a sense, like the dark underworld and all that stuff. But the world looks great. I mean, the scene, Ra's al Ghul's area. I mean, and then getting Liam Neeson to play Ra's. That was that was awesome. And this was before, if anybody's wondering, this was before he went into becoming the action star that he is in the Taken movies. He did that about 4 years later. He did that in 2009, 2008. Yeah. So, but this is him, like I said, because you usually don't see Liam Neeson play a bad guy. Mm-hmm. He was like, and then I gotta appreciate that beard. That was good. That was good. He was good in it. I mean, and I loved seeing the behind the scenes. You got more of Bruce Wayne. Like, I think for me, this is my favorite Bruce Wayne in Batman because he resembles both. He's really good as Bruce Wayne because you see more of him, the business side about I bought all the shares. Mm-hmm. Like, he knows about the business side, and he's also you see more of the playboy philanthropist that he is. And you see him with the two girls. I'm gonna make some rules about the pool. Like, you see him as the billionaire playboy. You see him interacting with people, and then we didn't get this in the other movies. So it's a really nice change to actually see a more grounded Bruce Wayne, but yet he's really smart. Like, in this one, like, he knows what he's doing. And Michael Caine as Alfred. This is the best Alfred. Like, I think, like, for me, this is the best Alfred out of all the other ones. Like,
they gave him a lot to do compared to the other the other Alfred that we had from the other Batman movie that we had.
Yeah, he can fight. I mean, he if somebody's attacking the house, he's not letting them in. He's actually kicking them out of the house. Or
listen, we talked about
it. Yeah, I know. I was just mentioning that. You see him do more. Because I think we learn in these next few movies, we learn a little bit about his back history. Hence, probably why they created that show Pennyworth on the Epix channel, where
Gotham. Pennyworth.
More Penny. Like, I didn't watch Gotham. I watched like one episode. I'm like, It's not enough Batman for me, so I'm out. But I think you see more of his character, and then again, the Jeremy Irons character, he was really good too, and the one of Ben Affleck, like the Ben Affleck ones. But I think for me, Michael Caine, it resembles Alfred because he's more to do. He's more involved in, like when they were buying the cap, like the horns of Batman, the cows or crows or whatever. And he's like, okay, well, we need to do this one, and then yet we need to buy like more from this other ones to avoid suspicion. Like they know, they're very like methodical in this, and that's what I really appreciate more. This is more grounded, but yet they're more methodical. And but yeah, I mean, I this was a great movie. I mean, I think I would give this easily a 9. And it's a good stepping point to get the Juggernaut. That is a Dark Knight, and that is the Juggernaut out of this franchise. In a sense, in trilogies, you can maybe consider this like, if you compare it to Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back is kind of like the Dark Knight in a sense.
Well, this is another thing I have to say that I really enjoyed about it was the fact this looks and feels like the Gotham City that that we envisioned in the comics, especially when Bruce is on that ride with his parents. We actually get to see and experience how big Gotham actually is in this city, stuff like that, which is something that I really appreciated from the visuals that Christopher Nolan actually did. And then also too, another thing I wanted to dive into a little bit was the fact that I liked also too of how Alfred winds up telling Bruce, hey, look, you need to keep up with appearances. You need to go ahead and make yourself look like a playboy while you're doing this. Otherwise, it's going to make it look like you're not doing. In other words, it makes it look like that you're actually Batman whenever people are speculating on it. So I like how he's like, look, you're going to have to do this as a front, go back over to your Wayne Enterprises, and keep up with appearances. And also, too, know what's going on in your own father's business, because chances is they're not doing what they need to be doing. So that's, of course. And also, too, I also liked a little bit of humor in this movie, though, too. Like when Morgan Freeman goes, oh, you didn't get the memo? I also like the little nods here. It wasn't forced. It was like little small laughing moments that was actually perfect for the film. And it wasn't like over the top. And especially with he's not Commissioner Gordon yet, but especially the things with Gordon. They gave Gordon a lot more things to do compared to the other movies. And everything too, because they gave him a chance to save the day as well. Because people forget, if it wasn't for Gordon, Batman wouldn't have been able to save anybody. If you think about it, because he had to break that bridge and everything for Batman to go ahead and save everybody. So that's another thing. But I liked how excited Gordon gets when he breaks the bridge and he celebrates it, and also too. You know, the other Batman, like the Schumacher Batman, and then, of course, in Tim Burton's Batman, it started to get to the point where that Commissioner Gordon was getting a little too over the top with the humor, especially with Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin, to the point where it's like, you know what? I want a serious Gordon. I want him to be doing more than just saying, hey, Batman, we have a mission for you. I wanted Commissioner Gordon to be a little bit more fleshed out a little bit, and also give him a little bit more stuff to do. And Nolan does that. He does that really well, in my opinion. And also, too, another thing that I feel like that this movie does is it's smart. It doesn't allow us to be here's the thing with Nolan. He doesn't make the audience look like they're dumb thing either. He lets the movie go and lets it be its own thing, rather than saying, oh, so you were wondering about this? Let me show you. No. They all go on ahead and they let the audience decide for themselves, and then they show it and everything. So that's something that I really appreciated with that. Nolan did a really good job of explaining, hey, look, this is your more realistic take on Batman. This is my take on Batman. And even with Scarecrow, I was thinking of the animated cartoon whenever I first got into it, to be honest with you, because I didn't know what direction that Nolan was going to take or anything like that. I didn't know. And of course, at that time I was a little let down because of the fact of what I got. But then after that, I went on ahead and rewatched it again whenever it came out on DVD and everything. And I wound up loving it more now because all those senses of me having that expectation of it being like an animated film or being what I thought was into a comic book are completely gone. And I watched the movie for what it was. And that's what made me enjoy it even more. But I'll let you guys go on ahead and have the floor as well.
Well, I like the fact that Commissioner Gordon is basically part of Batman's origin. Like he's there to help Bruce Wayne out once he found out his dad died. And like I
Father
said,
figure.
yeah, father figure. Like I said, I like how it filled in the gaps. It went further, like beyond what we all saw. Because I'm assuming Nolan would think, okay, they saw his parents die. Okay, well, let me explore further. Let me go to, okay, Commissioner Gordon. Let me go to after the funeral. Let me talk about what happened after the fact that he is dealing with grief and loss. Let me talk about how he lost himself. Let me take them on a little journey of Bruce becoming Batman. So I like that part. And also, because I think I bring this up a lot with Charlie whenever we talk about Nolan movies, and you see the aspects of dreams. That comes into play as well, like dreams and fear, like his fear with bats and how he has to overcome that fear. And I like what Rawls or Raish or however you want to pronounce it. It basically depends on like the hard book comic book fans versus the movie fans or how you pronounce whatever Raish or Rawls or Ghoul. I like how he too was a father figure in a sense. You know, when Bruce was learning the ways of the shadow, was it the
Yeah.
shadow?
League of
Yeah,
Shadows.
League of Shadows. He was learning the ways of the League of Shadows, and he was just talking to him, and it was like a narrative. Like he took us into why he's afraid of bats and Roz or Raish. I'm gonna say Roz or Raish and do in between. Um, he's like just sitting there and listening to him like a father figure. So I think Nolan is showing that Bruce has a lot of um men in his life that provide his father figure role that he lost when his father died. So that's a interesting aspect in itself. Now the part that was a I think the part that kind of made the movie stale was Katie's Holmes performance. Like it was kind of lackluster. Like she was just one dimension,
So
you
she
know.
was just there for like a common love interest, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, but she could have just spruced it up a little bit. Like this
Well,
isn't Dawson's Creek, you know.
it could be like Vicky Vale or something where she just
Yes,
goes in.
you need to do something. She was giving me Dawson's Creek, and we need Nolan performances here.
Yeah, I liked her over. I'm with Charlie. She wasn't the best out of the whole entire thing with Batman Begins,
No,
but I liked her better than the actress that we had from the second film, The Dark
Maggie
Knight.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
yeah,
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
she was below average to Katie Holmes. I don't know why we couldn't get any body to fill those roles who could be up to par. Even if Rachel is just this side character, this one dimensional character, we could at least got somebody who matched the level of performances. That's what I'm saying. Go, Charlie.
I think maybe Nolan might did that because I don't think he wants everybody to not be distracted. Maybe that's why they did Katie Holmes, and that because in the last few Batman movies, you got to have the the it person. We need this girl. Like we need like Kim Basinger. She's blonde, so everybody was to stare at her. Like I think I said maybe there's a lot of sexism back then in the '90s, and I guess maybe that was too because that kind of took you out of the movie. I
Be
think by
honest with
having
you.
Katie Holmes in that, like, oh, go ahead, John.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do want to mention something with the '90s compared with the '80s and '90s that you mentioned to actually help you out a little bit too. Because in the 90s, everybody depicted blonde women as sexy in every single movie that you can think of, whether it's a comedy with Chris Farley in it, for example. The woman was always blonde. In every single movie in the 90s, I can guarantee you that you can find a woman that's blonde. 99.9% of the time, skinny, voluptuous, has long legs, didn't do anything to amplify the plot. Best of the Best also shows that, though, too, Charlie, which is the one that stands clear in my mind. But Beverly Hills Ninja is also another one with Chris Farley that I want to mention. So they didn't do anything to motivate the plot. They were just there for a love interest, and that's it. But I'll let you go on ahead and make out your other points, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like, I think this one, I think Nolan didn't want it. Like, he kind of like put that whole love interest on the back burner because he wants you to get into the actual story. This is a Batman movie, not a Batman love interest movie. This is strictly on the beginning of Batman. And I think that's why Nolan maybe he chose that. I think he kind of got away with it a little bit in The Dark Knight. Again, The Dark Knight is definitely a 10 out of 10 easily. But I think because I think he had Gyllenhaal in there again. I don't know, or maybe Katie Holmes read the script. I'm like, what? I die? Yeah, I ain't being a part of that. And if you haven't seen this movie by then, I'm like, well, it's been about 14 years, and everybody's seen The Dark Knight, so should have won Best Picture. But that's another day. But again, I think that's probably the reasoning for that. Again, I thought Gary Oldman was fantastic as Gordon. Mm-hmm. And I liked that more. It was Gordon was just more of him. It's kind of like not only just a Batman origin, it was a Gordon origin. Like we start out, you see him. He has family. He's not fat. He's not just like he's not obnoxious. Mm-hmm. He's serious, and yet he's working with Batman. So in a sense, the two of them were like a really good tandem. So it's the kind of start of that. And I think Gary Oldman was absolutely fantastic. Gordon, I think he is my best Gordon, like favorite Gordon out of all the Batmans. Like he nails it. Like again, everybody's given their A game in this movie. Like Katie Holmes aside, but I think the one aspect I gotta like knock Nolan for is because of this movie we got Joffrey. If you're not wondering, the kid that Batman helped,
that's his
Joffrey.
Scarecrow scared him though, all the way into Game of Thrones, to where he's traumatized and now he wants to go ahead and take it out on everybody else.
See, I'm not lying on that one. The kids actually, it's Joffrey. Like they've done so many comparisons. The two, like the kid in this movie is the guy that it's the actor that portrays Joffrey on Game of Thrones. Yeah, and the kid is like, wow, the kid's so nice, and he turns to that. I'm like, Dean, Batman just needs to bitch slap him. And honestly, I had to mention that because it's true, because somebody was going to ask. But yeah, the kid that Batman helps out becomes Joffrey in Game of Thrones. Let that sink in. But yeah, that's the one nitpick joke I have to mention because of this movie. We got Joffrey, but no, I mean, I think the visuals and then the action sequences were really well shot. Like again, that one everybody's like, well, it's really shaky, you can't see. I think that's the point. It's fast and swift, like Batman.
I didn't really feel the shaky cam, to be honest with you.
I didn't either.
It was shaky cam.
No, it wasn't shaky cam. It was like really fast, like him when he's surrounded by those 10 guys in the
okay.
I got swept up in the story.
I didn't even notice.
It was like, I mean, you see him like take out every guy, like it takes out, like take him out in a minute. It's not shaky cam, but the quick cuts like back and forth. I think there was a reason he did that. I think it's just to show you how quick and how quick and methodical Batman is. He can take out an entire army of guys. And then again, but yeah, I think it's not shaky cam, but it happened it's like a really quick, like you see him
a quick cut.
Yeah, it's really quick. I think it was meant for that. I think there was there was a reason for it, not just for the sake of, oh, we need shaky cam because I can't shoot an action scene. No, I think there was a reason for it, but it's like really quick
to demonstrate the quickness and how quick Batman can take down somebody.
Yeah,
and the kung fu fightings and stuff.
Also, the camera is a viewer in itself. Like the camera is our eyes, or I don't know, it's like a person or whatever the film school terminology is. So it's a lens. So even if Batman is doing all this stuff, the camera is there as our eyes, taking us into this action scene. Like, whoa, because that's, if you were to see a fight like that, I guarantee you would kind of see it in that sequence. Like
Mhm.
everything is so fast, I don't know where to look. So yeah, the camera represents us in a sense. We're
Yeah.
there to hear Batman speak. We're there to see him fight. We're the ones that know his secret identity. So all the people complaining about, oh no, it's so shaky. I'm like, get over yourself.
No, I've seen worse shaky cam.
I have
Um,
to.
But I
Me
think the
too.
other part I liked is back this when this movie came out, that's when like the MTV Movie Awards was actually good, and they did the spoof of this one. I think was like Jimmy Fallon was hosting the
Yep.
MTV Movie Awards. It's Tank Man, and so like Jimmy Fallon's trying to get like they kind of like what they did with The Matrix Reloaded with Sean William Scott and like and Andy Dick's in it. So this one is like Jimmy Fallon's trying to get a ride to that, and you see the Tumblr show up, and he gets in. He's like, Batman's giving me the ride to it, and it's like, so they're reacting the scene that was from what, like the chase sequence with the tank while him driving it again, and he said, find out it's Napoleon Dynamite is the guy that is. He's like Napoleon Dynamite. He's like, are you Batman? Like, no. Like it's the same. It's like what type of skills do you have? Oh, nunchucking skills.
Yeah.
Got the sweet arm blade. I mean, it's just a funny
Gliding.
And then the funniest part is the when the tank's driving off the on the roof, and Andy Dick's one of the cops, and he goes, "It's driving on rooftops." And the other guy say, "I just even said that, Phil." I mean, it's called Tank Man Returns, and in like but it's just. This is back when the MTV Movie Awards was actually good, and they started doing the spoof stuff. But and that was also when Fallon made fun of Anakin when he does the backflip into the lava. Yep, I did not plan that well, but no, like that's what this how popular this movie was that they just like they did an MTV Movie Awards skit when Napoleon Dynamite's driving the tank, and he goes and when he's trying to shoot the when he's on the parking area, he's playing a crane machine, and it looks like he's shooting. And he gets him here. Wow, cool stuff, Batman doll. Thanks.
You know what, though, man? I remember loving that skit.
Man,
this movie's just so good. I mean, it's a good introduction, and it actually brought back DC until DC went dark again.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a Batman movie, so maybe that's why. With some fans, or even the fans that like me, like Keaton, like to be reintroduced to Batman and to introduce him in a way where this doesn't feel like a Batman film. It gives us fresh lenses to see. Oh, this feels like a movie, because if you didn't know the title, you wouldn't know that this was a Batman film. I mean,
No,
minus,
you wouldn't.
The costume and everything else. But
it feels like a TV show for 2.5 hours, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I was interested in how he got into the criminal underground. Like, I don't know if that was in the comics, because I didn't read the Batman comics.
To be honest with you, they did get a couple of things right with Falcone and everything too, which is something that I really liked with Falcone, was describing who he was, and also too that accent had that Chicago kind of feel, which is kind of what I've imagined Falcone. So they got that right. Ra's al Ghul was actually the one who killed Batman's parents. They got that right. Wasn't the Joker. That was just for plot motivation for the '89 Batman. It was never actually true to have that. To be honest with you, the League of Shadows was the ones who actually killed Batman's parents. An assassination. So they got that part right. So yeah, it's some realism, but they also adapt to the comic books a little bit here and there's like little small nods that actually help amplify the story and also help move the plot along. That's something that I really do appreciate. And also too, I love the jiu-jitsu training, how he has to try and prove himself to Ra's and trying to go on ahead and earn his trust. And also too, he was about to get branded into this. He was about to become one of them.
Yeah.
And then he realized, wait, this is not the same goal that I had envisioned for me to save my city. That's my city. That's where I was born at. And here you come wanting to destroy what I want to try and save. So once he took off the lenses and realized Raz's plan is not the same plan that he envisioned, that's when he turns on the League. and I like that. Now, as far as being the criminal, I want to say yeah, because of the fact that he was part of them in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember in the comics, though, too, him and Raz's daughter actually team up and do a few things because of Raz's past. Everything, too. So that's a couple of things, though, too, that I want to mention.
That's
but yeah,
interesting. I did not know that he was until Batman Begins, because I'm just going based off the films. I was kind of shocked and surprised. I was like, what is this? What is he learning?
I was too.
Jiu-jitsu? Who is this guy? You know, I didn't know what was going on, but I was still fascinated. I was like, oh, that's how he learned how to fight. And I was like, interesting. Because
that's one of the problems with the 89 Batman, because we're just thrown in with Batman and that's it. We're not thrown in on how he can fight or anything. We're just so glued in. Oh, okay, so he already knows how to fight. Versus, how did he learn how to fight? Where did he get what was his motivation to fighting? What was his whole entire motivation other than to save the city and everything too? So we get all of that in this film, which wraps up really well, to be honest. And then another thing too, I like how basically the characters are like the narrators in our minds. In other words, he's riding on rooftops. Next thing you know it, the cops go, he's riding on rooftops. It's like they're inside our heads and everything, and saying what we want to say in the film, in a sense. And also, too, Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox was excellent casting as well. He's like, I don't care what you do with your stuff, as far as I'm concerned. You're the one who owns this stuff.
Yeah.
And I like how he's making up rumors as to why he's using it, and it's his own stuff. And he's like, he's afraid to use stuff from his own company. He goes, it's for spelunking. Okay. And I liked how he calls him out on his own BS, though, too. He's like, so, is that why I saw the Batmobile or the Tumbler going across on top of rooftops because of spelunking? And I'm not going for verbatim or anything like that. I'm just paraphrasing. But I like how they actually have that added humor in with Morgan.
Yeah. I don't think Freeman questioned him. I think it was Alfred that was the one that was like watching it. Like, it was like damn good television. That's what Bruce said. I think the only thing that Lucius questioned him was the spelunking. So what's it say, Mr. Wayne? Cave diving or something along those lines? I think it was Alfred was the one that saw it.
That's right.
It was on TV because Lucius got fired from
That's right.
Earl. Yeah.
You're right about that.
There.
But speaking of bat caves and everything, you want to be shaving with the right tool for the job whenever you're going into a dark cave like Batman. You don't want to be shaving with the wrong stuff, right, Tomeka? You want to actually shave with the best and everything. And guess what? Today is Valentine's Day. And, you guys could actually get something for your man on Valentine's Day to make him feel like a man and not have to shave his downstairs area like he lives in the bat cave or anything. You get exciting new... Here's the thing. Exciting news has actually crossed from our friends at Manscaped. They just launched their 4th generation performance package. The ultimate package includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right. The 4.0. Manscaped, the leaders in male grooming, have done it again to make your grooming game next level. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the new performance package 4.0 by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code Movie Loves Unite. And, there was a time whenever I used to actually shave with the wrong tools, to the point where I thought I had to spend hours on standing in the ER with being awkward with my balls bleeding out. But you know what? With Manscaped 4.0, you don't have to worry about doing what I did or anything like that. You don't have to be awkward in the ER. You guys can go on ahead and shave with the best, which is the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. And also, you also get the nose and hair trimmer, called the Weed Whacker. You also get the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Toner, Performance Boxer Briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. First off, the new Performance 4.0 includes the Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is insane, and dare I say, the great ball trimmer ever. Yeah, I said it. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge somatic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on and off switch, and engage a travel lock, and gives you the ability to turn the 4,000. Like I said, this is perfect if you're hiding in the back cave and you want to shave your balls. So guess what? You get the 4,000 LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Oh, did I mention this trimmer is waterproof too? So that's always good whenever you want to go deep diving into the Batcave and you want to shave your balls over there too. You thought that was good, but want to take your grooming game even further to the next level? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker to chop your worst weeds up top knot in your nose and ears. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor, powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system. The nose and ear trimmer provides property skin safe technology, which helps prevents nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Seal the deal with Manscaped liquid formulations. Their crop preserver ball deodorant for leaving the house, and crop preserver, bowl toner, and for mid-game ball check. Trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you. And Manscaped even threw in some free gifts for you as well. The 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers, the Shed Travel Bag, bring your comfort and boxers to another level. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code MovieLoveTonight at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code MovieLoveTonight. And that's it. And your balls will thank you. Going ahead and get back into Batman Begins.
But yeah, I thought Morgan Freeman was awesome as Fox.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like when you introduced him, you've seen all the gadgets, and you get to see how does Batman get all those cool like toys. I think the line I love the most, and he's like, "What's that? Ooh, the tumbler."
Ooh,
I don't think he'd be interested in that. And then that's when you see the Batmobile for the first time, and like, does it come in black? And I was like, that thing for me is the Batmobile. So if anything that doesn't look like that, it's not the Batmobile for me. It's like it just doesn't, because to see the tank and just to see him this nonchalant driving the tank in a car chase, or Commissioner Gordon saying, "Man, I got to get myself one of those." Like it's such a cool car because we haven't seen something like this, a tank as the Batmobile. And then I think this the Nolan trilogy, his vehicles are just so cool. Like the motorcycle, how it becomes a motorcycle was just awesome in that. And then I even love the I forgot the name of the flight machine.
Oh yeah,
I pretty much call it like a Batwing, for example. But
there was a name for it. I think once I watched The Dark Knight Rises again at some point, I'll be able to get the name of it. But that thing was cool. The way it just flew in the sky. I mean, again, the cinematography in all these movies, top notch. Like no one knows what he's doing, and that's why I think he was the perfect person. I mean, and then the next movie we get IMAX sequences and how this is the first time a guy like a director would make a scene specifically for IMAX, and that whole Joker sequence, like a Batman trying to save Harvey Dent sequence, like not that sequence, but when Harvey Dent arrests himself on Batman, that whole sequence is IMAX. And so again, I mean, Nolan's one of the few directors that actually makes scenes specifically for IMAX, and that's what I really appreciate, that he's a guy that cares about cinema. There's not many directors that do, but he's definitely one of them, that he's trying to preserve cinema because he's like us. He's like a fan of the cinema, and that's the way you need to see these movies in a sense.
Right, we get that a lot from the last film that he did and everything too. But going ahead, Tomeka, I'm sorry,
Charlie. If with the other movies, and I'm being, whatever. With the other movies, if you take the bat wings off of the car, it's just a Camaro. And then it's also like a Lincoln. So if you just take the wings off of Batman 89, then that's just like a black Camaro or a black Lincoln. Like it's one of them gigantic cars.
or a Lamborghini or something, for example.
No, okay, I tried.
No, I mean, and just for me, it's just the cars, like they didn't really impress me. It's like, again, because
you're not selling that deal.
No, I'm sorry, I wasn't sold. Like, yeah, I mean, at the time,
I know he wasn't.
Cars are popular, and it just represents that he's just rich and he's just exemplary. I mean, anybody can potentially drive a tank. Unfortunately, I mean, anybody could do that, but to see Batman just go nonchalant driving around in a tank, like it's not a tank. It just looks like when he's the tumbler. I mean, to see that thing, like it's like mind blowing. of how like just seeing him driving that because that's not what you think of Batman, but now that's how I think of Batman now. Like it's got to be a tank because you got to be able to get from point A to point B in a really fast thing in order to save Rachel. If he was in that Camaro thing or the thing in the earlier ones, Rachel would be dead and she wouldn't be coming back.
She could
Like,
go.
Well, she still died.
Yeah, it's good.
Not because Batman didn't save her in time. I'm like that we're talking about that's Dark
That's true.
Knight.
Because, right. I got you.
I guess we'll say that for Dark Knight. Then.
Right. I got you now. I got you.
But, I mean, the Joker was playing tricks, but
now there's only like 2 little small nitpicks, but it's not enough to actually, it's just like little small things. Like, for instance, you can tell that cowl did not do him justice because you can tell when he's turning, he can't really move his neck. So he actually has to move his whole entire body like
oh,
this.
yeah. Not perfecting it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell it was a very still cowl, but still, it did the job that it needed to do for the film. That's like a little small nitpick. It's nothing major. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't know. Sorry, John. I don't know how Nolan dealt with Bale because he is notorious for being bitchy. Like he
has done a movie with him.
So he knows how to rein them in. Because I've heard stories. Yeah, but I've heard stories, and that's part of how Batman became the Nolan movies. Batman became popular. We hear these stories from the set about Bale cussing somebody out, or he ranting and raving about something, and then you're like, oh, okay, let me check this film out. I mean, yeah, it was Nolan and his writing, but also it was unfortunately the drama of Bale. Like,
it happened that I know that one sequence you're talking about. I think he was on the set of Terminator Salvation.
Oh yeah,
that was the movie, and I think that was after the success of The Dark Knight. Because it came out after that. Okay. I knew about that. I mean, but I think Nolan's just one of those few directors that people actually want to work with him because Nolan's one of those. Like, there's very few directors nowadays that you want to work with them. Nolan is one. I think Tarantino is another.
Yeah.
Scorsese. Maybe Cameron. Then again, Cameron. I mean, for Cameron though, you got to be like committed to like multiple movies. But Nolan's one of those few ones that gets people and then like
form relationships.
Relationship. And he's more about quality than quantity. Like it's like he doesn't pop out movies like every so often like Bruce Willis. He does it because
that I agree.
Why you gotta mess with Bruce Willis?
Because Bruce Willis has only been playing the same. Right. Bruce Willis plays himself.
Okay.
But anyway,
Bruce Willis plays himself in every film, but still.
Yeah. And he's got 11 movies, and they're all nominated for the Bruce Willis category of Razzie Awards. I'm not kidding
Rock
on
is
that.
The same way. He got the same problem. He dresses alike in all of them.
I mean, the Bruce Willis is direct to media. I mean, because Christian Bale is in a big one this year. He's the villain in the new Thor movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's like, and and if he thinks like this is gonna be 2 different avenues, seriousness in this one, and then you got to deal with Taika Waititi's Thor, and so I'm interested how that's gonna work out. But he's the bad guy in that one. But I mean, if you were working with, I think Taika Waititi now is definitely going in that range of you kind of want to work with him because he saved Thor. He literally saved Thor. And for that, I gotta give him huge props because he's absolutely hysterical. But so I mean, I don't know. I mean, this was just a great movie. But I think the thing is they improve on the cowl as the movies progress. Like the Dark Knight, like he's got full range. Like the sequence right before he's about to jump in Japan, he's full range of motions, everything. And so I think that's the thing. I think that again that we're just starting out with the cow, so he's just getting it, and then that's why he's improving. Like hence when they destroyed the cows, like, well, at least we got a discount, and then stuff like that. So the next batch will be better. So they're improving. So this is like him getting used to it and everything, And I mean, honestly, for me, I think this one just looks, the suit looks awesome and it looks realistic to me.
In the Begins or in the next movie?
With the suit,
Yeah.
I think in this one it looks great.
Mhm.
The next, but they get him, it gets better as the
Mhm.
movies progress in the
Okay.
suits. And I think this the second movie is just is one of my all-time favorites.
Mine
It's
too.
literally the best. But they essentially, this movie's like the reach, kind of like a feeling out for Bruce.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm just getting used to Batman. Okay, this works. I'm going to improve on that. He's
Mhm.
always looking out for a way of improving, not having the same outfit. And I love that when he just takes the cowl off, he just takes it off. It doesn't have to rip off.
Yeah.
And that's why I love about the technology. It's like the suit looks more realistic and it's probably a lot less cumbersome than all rubber.
Mhm.
True. Another thing too is, speaking of the technology, and I'll get into my second nitpick thing in a minute. But I love the technology in this film, to where they explain how he can do the things that he does, and he's able to glide and fly a little bit with the expansion of the bat wings and stuff like that he has. Electromagnetic pulses. I liked how they did that. I thought they explained the technology really good, and it was with science. The
Mhm.
thing that I want to say about this is, when you look at Marvel and DC as a whole, Marvel
Mhm.
does things differently than what DC does. Marvel is basically your science. And DC does something more on the psychological aspect of certain things, make you think and things like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
More of dealing with your governments and stuff like that versus that. But with this, they're diving into the science stuff of it. And that's something that I really enjoyed. The second nitpick is just something funny to me. Bruce has been gone for over 7 years. This is just like Arrow. He's been on that island. All of a sudden, Arrow shows up. Batman shows up after 7 years or so from being away. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I wonder who Batman is. I'm like, well, who do you think is rich? But still, it's the disbelief and why we're glued into these films of someone dressing up and giving people hope. Everything too. It's just something that I really enjoyed. But yeah, just something that I thought that was actually funny. It's not something that I took seriously or whatever, but it was just something funny that I thought of. Like, 7 years you haven't seen Bruce, but yet you see this Batman coming around, and you're wondering who Batman is, who can afford a tank and everything. So who else could it be? Same thing whenever you see Arrow coming in after so many years of being on the island. All of a sudden you see Arrow. But it's just fun to just goof off a little bit and just enjoy it.
Well, I think Marvel's getting into the psychological aspect of it with the new Doctor Strange movie.
That's very true.
Yeah, true.
That is going to be like a huge mind trip in a sense. Like everything.
I'm hoping it's Nightmare in this next film.
It's like a psychological, spiritual mysticism type of.
Yeah, and there's like a lot to it, and I think it's Nightmare, and then it's also Scarlet Witch is in that, and I think and then when you see that table that everybody's talking to him, I really think that's Charles Xavier. Because you see Patrick Stewart's voice.
In his latest trailer?
It's in the new Doctor Strange in the trailer. You hear
I gotta rewatch it.
You hear Stewart's voice, and then there's like a lot of like snippets like from the poster. One you see Carter, Captain Carter's shield. You see that or something like that. That's speculation. One that I think they saw Deadpool in the poster. Because and then the other one you see a brief image of Reed Richards sitting, and it's the Reed Richards from the 2005 Fantastic Four. So there's a lot of there's gonna be a lot of multiverse, and I think it's the TV spot in the Super Bowl. I think one was like you see Doctor Strange as a Defender, because that was originally the name of, instead of the Humans, was Defenders. Not nothing to do with the Daredevil Defenders, but yeah, there's gonna be a lot of thought-provoking stuff in it, and that's the whole point of it. So it's like you're watching a Nolan movie, but on crack, with the whole rules and stuff. But I mean, I think, that line by Scarlet Witch, you broke rules and they claimed you a hero. I broke them, and everybody
you a hero,
it.
right?
Yeah. So again, that I think right now that for me, again, we're Marvel, but that's one of my anticipated movies because that one was just it just looks so good, and I love the first Doctor Strange. But this like I don't know, this for me is just my anticipated, but this like get back to Batman, but
Right.
it's because but it's like but the idea of the psychological Marvel's starting to go more into that, while DC's going into the more okay, I'm just gonna beat you, just gonna like the not like the more government-y kind of things, but this is a great movie. Honestly, it is. I mean, Christopher Nolan is like he's just proven now he's just one of those top A directors that everybody wants. Everybody wants him, and then again, like you got like cast members in this were just very good in this, like Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow,
Oh yeah,
Dr. Crane, perfect. Like again, there's a lot of Katie Holmes not, but everybody else was like perfect casting. And it only gets better with the Dark Knight. Like the casting, except for Maggie Gyllenhaal, but who cares?
No.
But go on ahead, Tomeka. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say two things. There was a cringe-worthy moment to me when Rachel dropped Bruce off to Falcone, right? Because he thought he was just gonna go in there and kill him. Then he pulls a gun out. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna shoot him." I'm paraphrasing, and she like smacks him just hard, and it's like, "Your father be ashamed of you." I was like, "Oh." Like I felt like I was getting slapped. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm embarrassed." Ouch. Like I don't know why that just kind of made me feel awkward. I guess that was the most drama she could bring out of her stale performance, and it threw me off because she's like, flatline, and then all of a sudden it's like beep beep, and then it goes back to being flatline. I was like, oh my god!
It's like, wait, I forgot, I'm an actress. I got to do something. Okay, slap Bruce. But
she doesn't want to wait for her life to be over.
Stop.
But I do have to say this, though, man. I do have to say this. I think the reason why it didn't, to me, that scene worked for me, and that's because of the fact that we have friends that we want to just slap the sense out into them. And I think if they're doing something,
if your friend is like this, they're like, beep, and then they go beep beep, and you're like, oh my god. Whoa, where that came from?
So I was like, "Oh wait, I gotta go in and do something." Okay, slap.
It's like when your friend just is like so calm and laid back, then all of a sudden they just like freak out, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Like that's how I felt with Katie Holmes' performance. I was like, "Oh my god!" Okay,
we're going still better than Gyllenhaal. I mean, I hated Maggie Gyllenhaal as Rachel in the Dark Knight.
She didn't even. It's like she was already
there.
It was like what you said about Michael Keaton, which I think you're wrong about Michael Keaton. But what you said was Michael Keaton seemed not interested. She looked not interested. Like, hey, what do you want?
It's like she woke up out of bed.
You're the Joker. Oh no. Bruce,
I mean,
help.
There's moments she kind of showed more life. The scene with the whole sequence with the Joker, she showed more life than Katie Holmes a little bit. Again, I think whoever they cast for Rachel was in the part because Rachel was just a side character. So it was the main. They're like the main. Everybody else is the main course. They're like the appetizer, but they're not the very very tiny appetizer that no one really cares about. Like again, how they filmed that sequence of Save Rachel or Save Dent in the dark, and that one was like my heart was racing. I'm like, oh my god, and then again, I gotta give credit Hans Zimmer, phenomenal music composer. He's nailed the score for these movies. Heck, he nailed the score for No Time to Die because he did the score for No Time to Die, and he just has a way. And those intense moments, like when shit's hitting the fan, like when you're hearing the intense music, like you're not falling asleep. He's making sure you're not falling asleep while you're watching, especially during the Dark Knight. If you fall asleep in the Dark Knight, that's on you, because every moment is tense because you just don't know what's going to happen. That's what I loved. I loved about this trilogy. You just don't know. I mean, for me, like I in Dark Knight Rises, I knew Batman's back was gonna get broken because I knew
Me
it was in
too.
the comics. I just knew it was gonna happen, and when it happened, it's so brutal that you know it's gonna happen. But it's just like this like everything to go together. But Hans Zimmer is like he makes you like makes entertaining movies that you don't want to fall asleep because he's gonna like
No.
jump scare you. And it's like, wait, what? What happened?
I
And
still
that's
listen
what
to the Hans Zimmer scores from The Dark Knight. That's like my favorite album to actually listen to, and everything. Matter of fact, I sometimes crank it up and everything in the car and just blast Hans
Look at
Zimmer.
you trying to be back
But
in your car.
exactly, one time I actually did that once. I actually had the Batman mask, and then I tried to order into a drive-through at McDonald's.
Oh God.
You're doing the Batman voice,
Where's
and I
my
actually
surprise?
Yeah,
I
that's
want
the
chicken
other thing.
nuggets.
That's the other thing.
But,
I talk
Where are
about.
they? But yeah,
The-
I actually had a
the
kid
voice.
geek out over me though. I actually had a kid fanboy over the fact I used the Batman voice.
Oh man!
But-
But,
Other thing
and I
I
actually have the poster for The Dark Knight Rises, the one where you see the where you see like the kind of like it's kind of like fading out with the buildings. I have that exact poster. That was one of the few I got for me to, and I hung that up in my college dorm. It was the one that was voted
nice.
over me.
Mhm.
I'll show it whenever we do that review. But because that was one of the ones I got for working at the theater because I worked when we had The Dark Knight Rises.
You know what though? The one
other
poster
thing
that I've been wanting,
Yeah.
poster that I've been wanting is the Dark Knight one with Heath Ledger holding the gun, the Tommy gun. And I remember going on eBay looking all over for that and wanting the actual movie theater poster. They were actually selling them online, and it's like $300 to $400 at that time. I'm like, never mind. I don't want it that bad.
I think I saw that exact one. I think you can get it a lot cheaper. You might have to pay shipping and handling for it, not as much, but it's not below 100 easily.
Okay.
You can easily find it on Amazon. That's where I've been buying a lot of these posters. That's where I bought the Matrix poster. I got that.
If you happen to find it, let me know. And all right, I know that you want to
because they have very limited stock, but
the other thing I wanted to talk about was just the voice choice. Like I don't remember Batman being so aggressive in his voice. It's very rough. And then there were a lot of memes that came out about it and a lot of other stuff that made the movie even more popular. And it got worse in Dark Knight, where you couldn't really understand what the hell Christian Bale was talking about when he was up against Heath Ledger.
Mm-hmm.
And well, we'll get into Dark Knight, but I think he was trying to top Ledger's performance in Dark Knight. So maybe that's why the voice got a little bit more rougher, But yeah, I couldn't understand a word he was saying. All I heard was oh,
Well, I mean,
Rachel.
I think the reason for it is because when he speaks normally, you kind of know it's him. I think he was trying to it was a way to disguise his voice in a sense. In a sense, like so nobody can figure out like when he told Rachel like that line, Rachel knew it was Bruce. Like I think he did it just kind of like disguise his voice in a sense because when he talks normally like he's got that voice already. I think he did it just like that, and maybe to go over above Ledger. But then again, like those two, like Bale and Heath Ledger gave like top-notch performances in The Dark Knight. Like the two of them were on the top. Like everything and everybody in The Dark Knight was this, except Gyllenhaal was fantastic. I mean, it's like again, The Dark Knight is just the what everybody's trying to get to because it set the bar so high. And that's what everybody was expecting The Dark Knight Rises. Hence the kind of drop off and the diversiveness of it. It's not bad. It's much better than Batman and Robin. I like that one better than Batman Forever. It's long, but you're sucked into the story. And about it, like the performance is like, oh, my mother never told me to get in the car with strange men. This isn't a car. Like it's just like it's just. Like I mean, it's just for me. It's the perfect ending it worked for me. And I just love seeing getting Joseph Gordon-Levitt in there. But whenever we cover the rises, like that again, that's why I had it in my top 10 in my year in films for 2020, 2012. It worked. It's much better than a lot of stuff in the 90s for me, but it's the perfect ending.
Gotcha.
The second thing, the Batman thing was spontaneous, but the second thing was I kind of got lost a little bit in Batman Begins, but I guess that was on my part. When he was telling his story to Ra's/Ra's Al Ghul, and you started controversy. That's what you.
No, that was not literally with that old lady, Mr. Raz Al Ghul.
Yeah, she actually does that at the party.
Like, it's like, no, everybody just leave. Go home. This isn't a joke. Just leave. Like, I love that. I just gotta say, I love that.
That's my favorite line out of that scene, to be honest with you, too.
Rich folk,
the part
get out of his house.
The part I got a bit thrown off on was he was telling his story, like he's coming back from Princeton and everything else. I don't know why I didn't put it together that he was still narrating and talking to Rouse. Now I'm saying it, Al Ghul. But I thought, okay, maybe I thought this was present time. You know what I mean? Like when he was,
because it makes it feel like it.
Yeah, when he was leading up to meeting Falcone and going to the judge and everything else, I thought it was present time. But in my mind, I don't know why it didn't click for me. Like, oh, we're still in the past. We're not in the present time. So, like I said, maybe that's me.
I picked. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tomeka.
Yeah. Maybe it's just me that I kind of didn't click over. But I didn't click over until now. Can you believe how many times I've seen Batman Begins? And I just like, oh, we're still in the past.
I happen to do that too whenever I review films, though, too. Sometimes I don't click over until. I'm trying to. Okay.
I kind of picked up on it because of the way he looks.
Yeah.
Because when you see him in the present, he's got that beard. And then when he's talking to Rice, he's got that beard, the prison beard or whatever. That one, he looked skinnier. He looked younger. The hair looked different. Like it looked like a young Bruce Wayne. That's how I kind of figure out, okay, we're dealing with the past situation. And of course, the other funny thing is to see the guy that he gives the coat to. And and then he joins with Liam Neeson in Taken 2. He's the bad guy in Taken 2.
No,
really, I had no idea.
And I believe that's the most interesting man in the world. That was from the original Guinness. That's the same guy. That's the guy that's hunting down Brian Mills and Taken 2.
Oh my goodness, that's so crazy! All for a coat.
No, I don't know it's about a coat, but I just know that I recognize the face and the way he talks. I remember, that's the guy that's from Taken 2.
My gosh, Batman Begins has I don't know, it a lot of things have come out of it. We got Joffrey, and now you said we got the villain from Taken 2,
and we got Brian Mills coming out of this one.
This is crazy.
Yeah, you got Katie Holmes escaping from Tom Cruise.
Yeah, we got like a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon type of stuff going on here with Batman Begins.
Yeah. 7 degrees of Batman.
There you go. 7 degrees of Batman. That's even better.
But yeah, one of my favorite lines, though, too, is the one line where he goes, "It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me." That's still something that I still want to get tattooed on me for a Batman tattoo.
Where would you put it?
I would actually put it on this arm since I already got this other tattoo right here.
Oh, we showing tattoos now? I got one.
I can't show the other one because the other one's on my back.
See, I got one too.
Want to know how I got these scars?
I see what you did there.
1 hour of pain. That's how I got that.
I don't have any tattoos. I don't want any, honestly. It's like I don't want to have to pay for something to get it off my body. Why would I want to put it on there for me? That's me. It's just like,
I pick my tattoos carefully because I know they're
anyways
for the rest of my life.
So, final thoughts on Batman Begins. I'll let you both go on ahead and open up with your your final thoughts on it, and then after that, I'll go into mine.
Charlie can go.
Great movie. This is such a great movie. It's It's probably one of the better trilogies out there. Like everybody's like, oh, Star Wars. I'm like, recent. Let's go recent here.
Oh, okay, recent. Okay.
Like I think for me, this one is the start of like one of the best trilogies out there. It's got a beginning, it's got a middle, it's got an end. And I think for me, the ending worked. Like this is a great movie. It's got a great beginning, fantastic middle. The end is very diverse to people. Some hate it, some like it. I liked it because it did what it needed to do. It didn't go on longer. It didn't make another movie for the sake of making another movie. It was always going to end that way. Could have been better, yeah, sure, but still not a bad movie. Like again, like it did what it needed to. And Christopher Nolan is like, I mean, he made Batman awesome, and I got to give him credit for it. This is a great beginning, and it's set, and the way they set up the sequel, which I didn't pick up on it till later on after I watched The Dark Knight, and then I realized, oh my god, they teased the Joker in the end of this movie, but the calling card. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that okay. Mm-hmm. Then now that made sense of why he was going after the Joker in The Dark Knight, because Gordon gave him the calling card and he saw Joker on him. Like, that was a nice setup. So there's always a good setup to the next movie, and I think a transition per se. And Christopher Nolan is probably one of the better directors to take over this franchise. He nailed it, and he got 8 top performances besides the people that played Rachel in these movies, and Talia to a degree. Yeah. Great. She was interesting until the ending, but whatever. But you get guys in there, and then he works in other movies with you, and he gets people that he can work with. Mm-hmm. And I love a director that's doing it, and he gets the top performances out of them. Like you want to work for Nolan, and he cares about the cinema, and he improves in every movie he does. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about Nolan. He's one of my favorite directors, and he just nails Batman with this one. It doesn't feel like 2 hours and 10 minutes, because that's how long this actual movie was, not including the 10 minutes of credits. But Nolan nailed it, and it's an easy 9 out of 10 for me on this one.
I guess for me, even as a person that loves Michael Keaton's Batman, I can appreciate Nolan's Batman as well. I just really like how Nolan expands upon the journey of Bruce Wayne. Like, that's something I haven't seen before. And I guess deep down, that's something that I always wonder what else happened, because like I say, in all the Batman movies, it cuts off with parents dead, pow, and now I'm Batman. It kind of fills in the gaps. And I like Nolan too. He seems to always tap into your subconscious and brings to the surface, like, I don't know, like dreams or fears.
Time.
Time. He's like really deep and into the psychological aspects of human nature and everything, all that deep stuff. But yeah, I like Batman Begins. I've seen it multiple times. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is a great movie, minus Katie Holmes' flatlining performance
and slapping Bruce. But
I'm ashamed of you.
Well, for me, this is what I'm going to say too. I definitely agree with you, Tomeka. I love Keaton and everything, but what I liked about Christopher Nolan's vision is the storytelling within itself, rather than saying, mm-hmm. "Oh, here's Batman; he can already fight, and here you go." Mm-hmm. This one is, his parents died. He's dealing with the death of his parents, while also dealing with that. He's also dealing with the guilt. If it wasn't for me, my parents wouldn't have left the theater. Mm-hmm. They would still been alive if I wasn't having the PTSD moment of being afraid of the bats because of what happened in my younger childhood. Mm-hmm. That was also another thing I appreciated with Nolan. And he doesn't get actors just for the sake of getting actors that he's worked with. He gets actors in there to actually help motivate the plot and help also to help the story grow. And that's something else that I appreciated from a storyteller like Christopher Nolan, who appreciates cinema as much as we do, who are fans of cinema and who love going. And then also too, I like the originality behind it. Yeah, he used some stuff from the comics, but also adapted it into his own way. It's like loosely based on the comics, which is something that I really did appreciate from that. And also gives us a whole entire new visual of Gotham City. The movie's perfectly well pacing. To be honest with you, I agree with Charlie on this. The pacing of the film is fantastic. Never once did I ever thought that this movie was too long. I felt like once I'm in there, that's it. It just keeps on going. There's no stopping it. There might be the very beginning where it's like a slow burn kind of, but once you get past the introduction into Bruce's world, it just keeps on going like nonstop. So I definitely appreciated Batman Begins for what it is. But yeah, I thought it was a solid film. I can't wait to revisit The Dark Knight tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That's also when we're going to be reviewing the next one in our revisiting series. But Tomeka, where can everybody follow you at if they want to go on ahead, follow you on social media, and also listen to your podcast and all that good stuff?
Oh boy. Yeah, it's Two Blurred Girls podcast. We are on Facebook at Two Blurred Girls podcast. We are also on YouTube, Two Blurred Girls podcast. That's our channel. We are on Twitter at Blurred Two Girls. We are on Instagram at Two Blurred Girls _ podcast. We're on Twitch, same name. There's a theme. We also have an audio podcast. An audio podcast is on Good Pods, which John will go more in detail about Good Pods. We're also on Apple, Google. We are also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, everywhere that you can get streaming podcasts. And last Friday, we did our documentary for our Black History Month episode, Dreamland, the Burning of Wall Street. Check that out on our streaming channels and also on our audio podcast. And this Friday, we're going to continue with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but we're going to wrap it up because we can't do 64 episodes. So we're just going to continue on from where we left off, which I believe would be 13, 14, 15, 16, 13 through 16. And then we'll probably just kind of lead you into how it ends or tell you to go watch it and see how it ends for yourself. So that's it.
Okay. And so that's going to be it for our Dark Knight. Well, not Dark Knight, but our Batman Begins episode. But if you guys want to, go ahead and follow me underneath Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, underneath the same brand name on Instagram and on Pinterest as well. If you want to get an audio-only podcast of our episode, you can get that where you guys get your podcast from. Also, too, like Tomeka said, we're also on Good Pods. Good Pods is like social networking for podcasters, or if you're like listening to podcasts. You can rate individual episodes where you can also talk to us. We'll reply back to you. Tell us what you think. Give us a 5-star rating. That also helps other people to find our podcast. Also, too, rating us on Spotify, like I mentioned earlier before the show, also helps other people to find our shows. And also, too, ranking us. And then also on Apple Podcasts as well. That's also another place that you guys can listen to us. We're pretty much on all platforms, all the popular platforms. So go ahead, if you whatever popular one that you have and you want to listen, just go and follow us under Movie Lovers Unite or under Two Blurred Girls for Tomeka. And then, of course, you guys can go on ahead, follow me on TikTok as well. I sometimes do videos and stuff like that on TikTok at Movie Lovers Unit 0. And then, of course, on Twitter as well at Movie Lovers Unit over there. Then, of course, you guys can go on ahead. And if you want to, you guys can donate to the page. How do you do that? You just go to GoFundMe.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. Donate $5 to $10 over there. But clicking on the bottom right-hand corner where that bell is, allow you guys to know when we have something new here. Hit that notification button. Hit that smash that subscribe button. Smash that like button. That helps us on a long way. And, of course, follow me on Movie Lovers Unit, like I said, on Twitter. If you want to be on the show, if you're a sponsor yourself, just go on and reach out to me at MovieLoversUnite@gmail.com. And that's everywhere you can reach me at. But before we finish up, I want to go on ahead and say this. Tomorrow night, like I said, we're going to do a Dark Knight review, and that's going to be at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time for that. And then Thursday night, I'm going to have Rossi McCree, independent actress Rossi McCree, back with me, and we're going to be reviewing the Sydney Poitier. How do you say his name, Tomeka?
Portier.
Poitier, yeah. Film. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? So that's going to be interesting. I cannot wait to check this movie out. This is for Black History Month, so that's why we're doing that film. It came out in 1962. I love doing these old movie reviews. And then Friday night, I'm going to have Alex on the show with me, and we're going to be, matter of fact, we're going to be interviewing the actor Dean from Game Day. And we actually got a chance to review the Game Day together. It's a little small indie film. You guys can check that out on our channel. And also, too, going ahead in the description, you can actually go into the information and you can rent Game Day, and then you can go on ahead, watch that, and then listen to the interview on Friday night. That will actually help you out as well. But that's going to be at 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time for that one. So that's going to be it for the show. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Tomeka, as always, for coming on the show and being an awesome guest, and also to my co-host as well, because you're the one who stuck with me in 2020, and I just want to say thank you for that too. So anyways, always until next time, it's been real. It's been fun. Can we do this again?